Alright, I'm going to show you a really quick, delicious, raw pasta sauce. Now this sauce is fantastic if you're using kelp noodles, the seaweed noodles. It's also wonderful if you're making your own vegetable noodles or pasta using a spiralizer or a spiruli or a 3-in-1 turning slicer, which I'll demonstrate afterwards. So to begin with, here are our basic ingredients. This is just something I made up yesterday, so I'm literally just saw what ingredients were in the fridge and came up with this, and it was really beautiful. So an unusual ingredient possibly for pasta sauce is some fresh kale. Now kale is one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. It's not available in a lot of the supermarkets or regular traditional fruit and veg shops. You will find it, however, in many organic shops and especially at farmers markets. It's gaining popularity quickly. We don't want the stalk, it's a little bit too fibrous. We don't want that in our sauce, and most of the nutrition anyway is in the leaf. So I'm just going to strip the beautiful green leaves that are full of all the micronutrients, the chlorophyll, the minerals, vitamins. Basically we just roll the kale up, and we're just wanting to cut it very finely. Careful not to slice our fingers. If you point the knife and cut away from yourself, that seems to be the best technique, just keeping your fingers and thumb out of the way. And we're just slicing it nice and finely. Okay, and I'll cut it the other way too. Now what we're going to do is similar to a kale salad recipe, in that we're going to put it into a bowl. We're going to add a little bit of salt. Now the salt is going to help wilt it and make it softer. Makes it a little more digestible, a little more like it's been cooked, but we're maintaining the nutritional integrity of the kale at the same time. A squeeze of lemon or lime juice. And I'm going to add a dash of hemp seed oil. Now, hemp seed oil has got the perfect ratio of the 3, 6 and 9 essential fatty acids, so it's an incredibly healthy food, healthy oil. We don't want to add too much, just a little bit to help lubricate this mix. You could use olive oil if you don't have hemp seed oil. And now we're just going to massage this all through to get that wilted effect. Okay, well that's softening up nicely. It's a beautiful nutty smell coming from the hemp seed oil. And by the way, if you're in Australia, unfortunately, hemp seed oil is not sold for human consumption. So this is for only international viewers. However, you can feed it to your pets, I'm told, legally. And just a little more on hemp seed oil. Basically, the Australian government has just sort of blanketed out anything to do with hemp or marijuana, even if it doesn't have THC, the active psychoactive ingredient, even if it's really nutritional, the Australian government's just blanket said no to all hemp food. So hopefully the law will change, because it is one of the most nutritious foods around. So I've got some sun-dried tomatoes here. You can do your own sun-dried tomatoes if you've got an Excalibur dehydrator. You just cut your tomatoes in half or into thirds, dry them out, and you can make beautiful dried tomatoes. Or you can buy them like this. I buy them dry, these organic sun-dried tomatoes. They're not in oil or anything, because I don't know what oils people soak these in, so I rather have control over that. So I've just soaked these in water for about an hour. If you've got a powerful blender like the Power Mill, you don't really even have to soak them, because it'll break them up. So I'm going to put these in to the blender. I'm also going to add some fresh tomato. And I'll use some of this, the sun-dried tomato soak water as well, because it's got some beautiful flavour in it. It will help the blending process. So we'll start with that. You may need to use the tamper if you've loaded it up like I have. right, so I love my greens, so we do have the kale ready to go in, but I'm also going to add some Italian parsley as well. Now we can put that in the blender or we can just add it to the sauce. It depends whether you prefer to have it, big chunks of it, or have it blended actually right up. And of course some basil. Fresh basil, beautiful. Again, we can add some salt to taste. That's very personal how much you add. So I'm going to add about half a teaspoon, not too much, and just finish blending this. You could also do this in the Magimix food processor, so blender or food processor, whatever you prefer. Okay, better have a taste test. That's really sensational. A nice strong pasta sauce. Now we're going to mix it with our other ingredients. So I've got my chopped parsley. We've got the kale. And by the way, that kale recipe is delicious on its own. You can just eat it as it is. It's a really wonderful way of having kale. We've also got some beautiful Peruvian olives. So I'll just chop these a little bit. You can put them in whole if you like. These are raw and they're my favourite olive by far. They're just so good. A couple more of those. And you can add some mushrooms. These are some shiitake mushrooms. I've just soaked them in about 50. They were already chopped. They were dried shiitake mushrooms, which I then soaked in water for about 15 minutes. Some people say it's better to actually cook the shiitakes because it releases some of their medicinal values. They're very high in vitamin D and also have immune stimulating properties as well. So a very healthy medicinal mushroom and delicious. But if you don't have shiitakes, you can use traditional mushrooms. All right. And if your sauce isn't thick enough, always a good thickening agent in raw food recipes is avocado. My sauce is thick enough, I'm not going to add avocado, but keep that in mind if your sauce is a bit runny and you'd like to thicken it up. All right, so just add sauce. And I've made enough here probably for 4 to 6 people. This is quite a big batch. All right, so we mix that through. And we have a delicious living food pasta sauce. Fantastic with kelp noodles, but also really good if you're making your own noodles out of vegetables like zucchini using a spiralizer or a spiruli. The other thing I'd like to point out is raw food isn't cold food. Don't be scared to warm this up a little bit. As long as you're not cooking it, as long as you put your finger in it, it's a bit warm. If you want to intensify the flavors, it's cold, no problem. Add a little bit of heat. So there we have it, a delicious pasta sauce, which we're going to mix with our noodles next.